I sit in my car staring at the house. It's a beautiful sunny day and everything seems perfect. I feel the warmth of the sun on my face, but inside a storm brews. My wife Julia and I have been married for 10 years. We have a 4-year-old son, Max. My life should feel complete, yet something feels off. I walk into the house, the smell of fresh coffee filling the air. Julia is in the kitchen, humming a tune. She looks up smiling, and for a moment I almost forget my worries. "Good morning," she says, her voice sweet and familiar. I kiss her cheek, the touch brief and cold. Max runs up, clutching his favorite toy car, his eyes sparkling with innocence. "Daddy, look! Vroom, vroom!" he says, pushing the car towards me. I crouch down, ruffling his hair. "Very cool, buddy. Did you have fun with Mommy today?" Max nods enthusiastically. "Yeah, Mommy's friend came over. He has a cool car, too." I freeze. A friend? My mind races. Julia's smile falters for a split second, but she recovers quickly. "Max, why don't you go play in your room for a bit?" she suggests. Max runs off, leaving us in silence. I turn to Julia, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who was here today?" She laughs nervously. "Oh, just a friend from work. He needed some help with a project." I nod, but something doesn't sit right. The feeling gnaws at me, but I push it aside for now. I have a busy day ahead, and I can't afford to get distracted. The day goes by in a blur. Meetings, phone calls, and a constant undercurrent of unease. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. I head home, my mind still replaying Max's words. When I pull into the driveway, an unfamiliar car is parked there. My heart pounds in my chest. I get out, walking slowly towards the house. The front door opens and Julia steps out, her face pale. She sees me, and for a moment, she looks like she's seen a ghost. "Whose car is that?" I ask, my voice low. She hesitates, then forces a smile. "It's just a friend's. He's inside, we're working on a project." I nod, but the suspicion grows. I walk past her, into the house. In the living room, a man stands up. He's tall, confident, and he looks at me with a hint of arrogance. "Hi, you must be Julia's husband. I'm David," he says, extending a hand. I shake it, my grip firm. "Nice to meet you," I reply, my voice tight. We exchange pleasantries, but my mind is elsewhere. Julia hovers nearby, her eyes darting nervously between us. I can feel the tension in the air, and it only confirms my suspicions. David leaves after a while, and the silence in the house is deafening. I turn to Julia, my heart pounding. "We need to talk," I say, my voice steady. Her face pales further, and I can see the fear in her eyes. My life, our life, is about to change forever. I sit at the kitchen table, my mind racing. Julia stands across from me, her face a mask of anxiety. I stare at her, waiting for her to speak. She looks down at her hands, twisting the ring on her finger. "Who is he?" I ask, my voice cold and flat. "Just a friend," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "Don't lie to me, Julia. Max saw him here, and he said he's been here before. What's going on?" She looks up, tears brimming in her eyes. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen." "What happened?" I demand, my patience wearing thin. "I met him at work. We started talking, and it just happened. It was a mistake, I swear." "A mistake? How long has this been going on?" She hesitates, then whispers, 6 months. 6 months. My blood boils. 6 months? You've been seeing him for 6 months, and you never thought to tell me? I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I could handle it, that it would end. But it didn't. I stand up, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I can't believe this. I trusted you. We have a family. What about Max?" "I'm sorry," she sobs. "I love you, I do. I just got lost." I shake my head, feeling a mix of anger and heartbreak. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Julia. Not this." I walk out, needing air, needing space. I end up in the backyard, staring at the swing set where Max plays. The life we built together feels like a lie. I hear the door open behind me, and Julia steps out. "Please, we can fix this," she says. "I'll do anything." I turn to her, my heart aching. "How do I know you won't do it again?" "I promise it's over. I'll never see him again." I look at her, searching for any sign of deceit. "I need time to think." Days pass, and the tension between us is palpable. We go through the motions, trying to keep things normal for Max, but the trust is gone. I start digging, needing to know more about this man who invaded my life. I find his social media profiles, his work information. I discover he's married with 2 kids. The anger flares again. I contemplate contacting his wife, but I hold back, wanting to gather more evidence first. One evening, I sit in the living room, sifting through emails and messages between Julia and David. It's all there. The lies, the deceit. My hands shake with rage. Julia comes in, seeing the laptop screen. "Please stop," she pleads. "I've ended it. I'm trying to make things right." "How can I believe you?" I snap. "You lied to me for months." "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm going to therapy. I'm trying to understand why I did this." I laugh bitterly. "Therapy? You think that'll fix this?" "I have to try," she says, her voice breaking. "I can't lose you." I look at her, feeling the weight of our history, our son, everything we've built. "I need more than words, Julia. I need proof that you're serious." "I'll do whatever it takes," she promises. We start going to counseling, trying to rebuild what's been shattered. It's slow, painful work. Trust is a fragile thing, and mine is in pieces. I keep my distance, needing time to heal. One night after Max is asleep, Julia comes into our bedroom. She sits on the edge of the bed, looking at me with a mix of hope and fear. "Can we talk?" she asks softly. I nod, sitting up. "What's on your mind?" "I know I've hurt you deeply. I don't expect you to forgive me overnight, but I want to make things right between us. I miss you." Her words hit me hard. I miss her too, the way things used to be. I feel a flicker of the old connection, buried under layers of pain. "I miss you too," I admit, "but it's going to take time." She nods, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm willing to wait, to do whatever it takes." She leans in, kissing me softly. I respond, feeling a surge of emotion. It's tentative, a first step towards healing. We hold each other, finding comfort in the familiar. The next day, I make a decision. I call my in-laws, asking them to come over. When they arrive, I tell them everything. They are shocked but supportive. They agree to help me keep an eye on things, to ensure Julia stays true to her word. That evening, Julia comes home to find her parents and me waiting. She looks apprehensive, but I explain my decision. "We need accountability," I say. "I want your parents to be involved, to help us stay on track." She agrees, understanding the need for oversight. It's awkward at first, but slowly we find a new rhythm. Her parents' presence adds a layer of security, helping to rebuild the shattered trust. Weeks pass, and things start to improve. We communicate more openly, facing the pain head-on. It's hard, but I see genuine effort in Julia. She attends therapy regularly, and we continue our counseling sessions. One evening, after a particularly intense session, we come home exhausted but hopeful. Max is already asleep, and we collapse on the couch. "We're making progress," Julia says, her voice tired but hopeful. I nod. "It's slow, but we're getting there." She looks at me, her eyes full of emotion. "I want us to be stronger than before. I want to rebuild our marriage." I take her hand, feeling a flicker of hope. So do I. We sit in silence, holding hands, the weight of the past still heavy, but beginning to lift. The journey ahead is long, but for the first time I feel a glimmer of optimism. The following week, I decide to confront David. I need to hear his side, to understand what drove him to pursue my wife. I find his address and drive there, my heart pounding. When he opens the door, he looks surprised but not intimidated. "We need to talk," I say, my voice steady. He steps aside, letting me in. We sit in his living room, an uncomfortable silence hanging between us. "Why did you do it?" I ask, cutting straight to the point. He sighs, looking away. "I didn't plan it. We just connected. It was a mistake." "A mistake that lasted 6 months," I say bitterly. "I'm sorry," he says, meeting my gaze. "I never meant to hurt anyone." "You did. You hurt my family, my son. Do you have any idea what you've done?" He looks genuinely remorseful. "I'm truly sorry. I've ended it, and I won't come near your family again." I nod, feeling a mix of anger and relief. "You'd better not. If you do, there will be consequences." He nods, understanding the threat. I leave, feeling a small sense of closure. It's not much, but it's a start. When I get home, Julia's waiting. How did it go? She asks. I confronted him. He apologized and promised to stay away. She looks relieved. Thank you. We continue to work on our marriage, rebuilding piece by piece. It's not easy, and there are days when the pain feels too much to bear. But we push through, holding on to the hope of a better future. One night, as we lie in bed, Julia turns to me. I want to show you how much I love you, she says softly. Her touch is tentative at first, but soon it becomes more passionate. We make love, reconnecting on a deeper level. It's a small victory, a sign that we're on the right path. The weeks turn into months, and slowly we find our way back to each other. Trust is rebuilt, and the wounds begin to heal. Julia proves her commitment daily, and I start to believe in us again. One evening, we sit on the porch, watching Max play in the yard. Julia leans her head on my shoulder, and I feel a sense of peace I haven't felt in a long time. We've come a long way, she says, her voice full of emotion. I nod, squeezing her hand. We have, and we'll keep going. Our journey is far from over, but for the first time, I feel confident that we'll make it. Together we face the future, ready to rebuild our lives and create a new chapter filled with love and trust. Days blur into weeks as I navigate the fragile ground between trust and doubt. Julia's making efforts, but the nagging suspicion never leaves. I start to think about my next move. I can't let this betrayal go unpunished. I need justice, and I need it on my terms. One night after Max is asleep, Julia and I sit in the living room. She looks at me, her eyes searching for any sign of forgiveness. How are you feeling? She asks. I shrug, my gaze fixed on the TV. Better, I guess. It's still hard. She nods, reaching for my hand. I understand. I'm doing everything I can to make it right. I look at her, my resolve hardening. I know you are. But it's not just about us. It's about him, too. She tenses, realizing where I'm going with this. David? Yeah, he needs to pay for what he did. She sighs, her grip on my hand tightening. I don't want any more trouble. Please, let's just focus on us. I can't. Not until he's out of our lives for good. The next day, I start my plan. I hire a private investigator to dig deeper into David's life. I need dirt, something I can use against him. The investigator is efficient, and within days I have a file thick with information. Affairs, shady business deals, and even some questionable financial transactions. It's enough to ruin him. I meet with a lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Lisa. She goes through the file, nodding approvingly. This is good. We can use this. I want him to suffer, I say, my voice cold. I want him to feel the pain he caused me. She looks at me, her eyes hard. We can do that. But it's going to take time and strategy. I'm in, I reply. Let's do this. Julia senses the change in me. I'm more determined, more focused. She tries to talk me out of it, but I'm resolute. This isn't just about revenge. It's about taking control of my life again. A few days later, I get a call from Lisa. We have what we need. It's time to move. I meet her at her office, and we go over the plan. We're going to expose David's affairs and his shady deals. His life is about to unravel, and I'm going to watch it happen. We start by sending anonymous tips to his wife and his employer. The fallout is immediate. His wife files for divorce, and his company launches an investigation. David is caught off guard, scrambling to contain the damage. It's a small victory, but it feels good. Julia is uneasy, but I reassure her. It's almost over. We just need to see this through. One night after Max is asleep, Julia and I sit in bed. She's reading a book, but I can see the worry in her eyes. I reach over, pulling her close. It's going to be okay, I whisper. She looks up at me, her eyes full of concern. I hope so. We make love, the passion mixed with a sense of desperation. It's a reminder of what we're fighting for. As she falls asleep in my arms, I feel a flicker of hope. The next day, Lisa calls with more news. David's been suspended from his job. They're investigating the financial transactions. It's only a matter of time before he's fired. I smile, feeling a sense of satisfaction. Good. What's next? We wait. The legal process will take some time, but he's already feeling the pressure. Julie and I continue our counseling. working through our issues. It's not easy, but I see progress. We're communicating better, and there are moments when I feel like we're reconnecting. One evening, we're sitting on the porch, watching Max play in the yard. Julia leans her head on my shoulder. "We're getting there," she says softly. I nod, squeezing her hand. We are. The weeks pass, and I keep an eye on David's downfall. His wife's lawyer contacts me, asking for information. I provide what I can, ensuring that David's life is thoroughly dismantled. It's ruthless, but necessary. One night I get a call from David. He sounds desperate. "Please stop this. You've ruined my life." I feel a surge of satisfaction. "You did this to yourself. You should have thought about the consequences. Please," he begs. "I've lost everything." I hang up, feeling a sense of closure. He's finally getting what he deserves. Julia notices the change in me. I'm more relaxed, more at peace. She doesn't ask about David, but I can tell she's relieved. We continue to rebuild our marriage, focusing on the future. One evening, Julia comes to me with a proposal. "Let's take a trip, just the two of us. We need time to reconnect." I hesitate, but then nod. That sounds like a good idea. We leave Max with her parents and head to a secluded cabin in the mountains. It's peaceful, a perfect place to heal. We spend our days hiking and our nights by the fire, talking and making love. It's a reminder of why we fell in love in the first place. One night as we lie in bed, Julia looks at me, her eyes full of emotion. "I'm sorry for everything. I love you." "I love you too," I reply, meaning it. We're not perfect, but we're trying, and that's enough. We return home, feeling closer than we have in a long time. Life starts to settle into a new normal. The tension eases, and I find myself looking forward to the future. A few weeks later, I get a call from Lisa. David's been fired. His wife's divorce is moving forward, and he's facing criminal charges for the financial stuff. It's over. I feel a sense of relief. "Thank you, Lisa. You've been amazing." She laughs. "Just doing my job. Take care and good luck." I hang up, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. It's finally over. I go to find Julia, who's playing with Max in the yard. She looks up, smiling, and I feel a surge of love for my family. "It's done," I say, walking over to them. She stands up, looking relieved. "Really?" "Yeah, we can move on now." She hugs me and I hold her tight. We're free to start fresh without the shadow of the past hanging over us. In the months that follow, Julia and I continue to work on our marriage. There are still challenges, but we face them together. We rebuild trust, one day at a time. Our love deepens, forged in the fire of adversity. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the sunset, Julia takes my hand. "Thank you for not giving up on us." I smile, squeezing her hand. "Thank you for fighting for us. We're stronger now." She leans in, kissing me softly. "I love you." "I love you too," I reply, feeling the truth of the words. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us who we are. And as we face the future, I know we'll do it together, stronger than ever. I'm sitting in the courtroom, the air thick with tension. My hands are clenched in my lap, knuckles white. Julia sits beside me, her hand on mine. We're here for the trial of David Miller, the man who almost destroyed my life. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman named Karen, stands up. "Your Honor, the state is ready to present its case." David looks nervous, his eyes darting around the room. He has lost weight, and his once confident demeanor is gone. His lawyer, a slick-looking man in a gray suit, tries to look composed, but I can see the strain. Karen starts her opening statement, outlining the charges against David: embezzlement, fraud, and other financial crimes. She presents the evidence, including the information I helped gather. Each piece of evidence is a nail in his coffin, and I feel a grim satisfaction watching him squirm. Julia squeezes my hand. "It's almost over," she whispers. I nod, my eyes never leaving David. "Yeah, it is." The trial goes on for days. Witnesses testify, documents are presented, and the tension builds. I attend every session, watching David's life crumble piece by piece. It's not just about revenge anymore. It's about justice. He needs to pay for what he did. One afternoon during a break, Julia and I sit in a small cafe near the courthouse. She looks tired, but there's a determination in her eyes that I admire. "How are you holding up?" she asks, taking a sip of her coffee. "I'm okay, just ready for this to be over." She nods. "Me too, but you're doing great. We're almost there." I smile, feeling a warmth spread through me. Her support means everything to me. Despite everything, we've grown stronger together. Back in the courtroom, the defense makes its case. David's lawyer tries to paint him as a victim of circumstance, but the evidence is too overwhelming. The jury watches intently, their faces hardening with each revelation. Finally, it's time for closing arguments. Karen stands up, her voice firm. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have seen the evidence. You have heard the testimonies. David Miller abused his position of trust for personal gain. He betrayed his colleagues, his family, and the public. It is your duty to hold him accountable." David's lawyer makes a last-ditch effort to sway the jury, but it's clear he's fighting a losing battle. The jury deliberates for hours, but it feels like days. Julia and I wait, the tension nearly unbearable. When the jury returns, the foreman stands up, holding the verdict. We find the defendant, David Miller, guilty on all counts. A collective sigh of relief fills the room. David's shoulders slump, and his lawyer looks defeated. I turn to Julia, and she hugs me tightly. "It's over," she whispers. But it's not quite over yet. The sentencing phase is next. We have to wait another agonizing week. During that time, I try to focus on work and family, but my mind keeps drifting back to the courtroom. The anger and betrayal still simmer beneath the surface, but there's also a sense of closure. Justice is being served. Finally, the day of sentencing arrives. The courtroom is packed. David looks even worse than before, and I almost feel a pang of pity for him. Almost. The judge, a stern woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, reviews the case. She looks at David, her eyes piercing. "Mr. Miller, your actions have caused significant harm. You violated the trust placed in you and showed no regard for the consequences. This court has no choice but to impose a severe sentence to reflect the seriousness of your crimes." She hands down a lengthy prison sentence, and I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. It's done. David will pay for what he did. Julia squeezes my hand, and I can see the relief in her eyes. We leave the courthouse, the sunlight blinding after the dim interior. I take a deep breath, feeling like I can finally move forward. We've faced the worst, and we've come out stronger. As we walk to the car, Julia stops, turning to me. "Thank you," she says, her voice choked with emotion. "For what?" "For not giving up on us. For fighting for our family." I pull her into a hug. "I couldn't have done it without you." We drive home in silence, the tension of the past months slowly ebbing away. That night, we sit on the porch, watching Max play in the yard. He's laughing, running around with a toy plane, and I feel a sense of peace I haven't felt in a long time. Julia leans her head on my shoulder. "We made it," she whispers. "Yeah, we did." We continue to rebuild our lives step by step. Trust doesn't come easily, but we're working on it. Our counseling sessions are less frequent now, but they've helped us open up to each other in ways we never did before. One evening, we sit by the fire, a bottle of wine between us. Julia looks at me, her eyes soft. "I've been thinking about us, about our future." "What about it?" "I want to renew our vows, start fresh. What do you think?" I'm taken aback, but the idea fills me with warmth. I think that's a great idea. We start planning, and the process brings us even closer. We involve Max, making him feel like a part of this new chapter in our lives. It's not just about us anymore. It's about our family, our future. The day of the vow renewal arrives, and we gather with close friends and family in our backyard. Julia looks stunning in a simple white dress, and I can't help but feel a surge of love and pride. We stand under a decorated arch holding hands. The officiant, a close friend, smiles at us. Today, we celebrate not just the renewal of vows, but the strength and resilience of love. Julia looks into my eyes, her voice steady. "I promise to love you, to cherish you, and to always fight for us, no matter what." I squeeze her hands, my heart full. "I promise to love you, to trust you, and to always stand by your side. We've been through hell and back, and we're stronger for it." We kiss, and the small crowd cheers. Max runs up, hugging us both. and I feel like the luckiest man in the world. We've been through so much, but we've come out the other side, stronger and more united. That night, after everyone has left and Max is asleep, Julia and I sit on the porch, the stars twinkling above. She leans into me, her hand on my chest. "I love you," she whispers. "I love you too," I reply, feeling the truth of the words deep in my soul. We make love under the stars, a slow, tender connection that speaks of healing and hope. It's not just about physical pleasure. It's about reclaiming what we almost lost, about forging a deeper bond. In the days that follow, life settles into a new normal. We're more attuned to each other, more open and honest. The wounds are still there, but they're healing. We're healing. One afternoon, Julia comes to me with a smile. "I have a surprise for you." "What is it?" "Close your eyes." I do as she says, feeling her lead me to the backyard. When I open my eyes, I see a swing set, just like the one we had to sell when things were tough. "For Max," she says, her eyes shining with happiness. I pull her into a hug. "Thank you. He's gonna love it." Max's joy when he sees the swing set is contagious. He spends hours playing, his laughter filling the air. Julie and I sit on the porch watching him, feeling a sense of completeness. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us stronger. We've faced betrayal, anger, and pain, but we've come out the other side with a deeper understanding of love and commitment. As we sit there holding hands, I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together. We've proven that our love can survive anything, and that's all that matters. The tension eases as we move forward, but the memories still linger. I wake up some mornings, feeling a phantom weight on my chest. Julia's betrayal, David's deceit, the trial, they all leave scars. But each day is a step toward healing. Each day, I work on building a new life. I start by focusing on Max. He's my anchor. His laughter, his boundless energy. They remind me of what's important. We spend weekends at the park, playing catch or flying kites. Julia joins us, and slowly, the wounds begin to close. Our family starts to feel whole again. One Saturday, we're in the kitchen making breakfast. Max sits at the table, coloring in his favorite book. Julia flips pancakes, her hair tied back in a messy bun. She looks over at me and smiles, and I feel a warmth spread through me. It's moments like these that make it all worth it. "Daddy, look," Max says, holding up his drawing. It's a picture of the three of us, standing in front of our house. "That's amazing, buddy," I say, ruffling his hair. "You're a great artist." Julia sets a plate of pancakes on the table. "Breakfast is ready," she says, her voice light and cheerful. We sit together, eating and talking. The atmosphere is relaxed, the conversation flowing easily. It feels like we're finally finding our rhythm again. Later that day, I get a call from Lisa. "I have some news," she says. "David's appeal was denied. He's going to serve his full sentence." I feel a surge of relief. "That's good to hear. Thank you, Lisa." "You're welcome. How are things on your end?" "We're getting there. It's a slow process, but we're making progress." "Good. Take care of yourself and your family." "I will." I hang up, feeling a sense of closure. David's out of our lives for good. Now it's time to focus on rebuilding. Julie and I continue our counseling sessions. They're not easy, but they're necessary. We talk about everything, our fears, our hopes, our dreams. We learn to communicate better, to listen more. It's hard work, but it's worth it. One night, after a particularly intense session, we come home exhausted. Max is already asleep, and we collapse on the couch. Julia leans her head on my shoulder, and I wrap my arm around her. "We're making progress," she says, her voice tired but hopeful. "Yeah, we are." She looks up at me, her eyes full of emotion. "I love you. I love you too." We sit in silence, holding each other. The past is still there, but it's starting to fade. We're creating new memories, new moments to cherish. As the weeks pass, we settle into a new normal. We focus on the little things. Family dinners, movie nights, weekend trips. We're building a new foundation, one that's stronger and more resilient. One evening, Julia surprises me with a date night. She's arranged for Max to stay with her parents, and she's planned a romantic dinner at our favorite restaurant. As we sit across from each other, candlelight flickering, I feel a surge of love for her. "This is nice," I say, reaching for her hand. She smiles, her eyes sparkling. "I thought we could use a night out. Just the two of us." "It's perfect." We talk, laugh, and enjoy each other's company. It feels like we're rediscovering each other, finding new depths to our relationship. After dinner, we walk along the river, the city lights reflecting on the water. Julia leans into me, and I wrap my arm around her. "I've been thinking," she says, her voice soft. "Maybe we should take a trip, just the three of us. A fresh start." "I think that's a great idea. Where should we go?" "Someplace warm, with a beach." "Sounds perfect." We start planning, and the excitement is palpable. It feels like we're embarking on a new adventure, leaving the past behind. A few weeks later, we're on a plane, heading to a tropical paradise. The sun is shining, the sky is clear, and the ocean sparkles like a jewel. Max is beside himself with excitement, and I feel a sense of anticipation. We spend our days on the beach, building sandcastles and swimming in the warm water. At night, we sit by the fire, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. It's a time of healing, of bonding. We're creating new memories, new moments to cherish. One night, as we sit by the fire, Julia looks at me, her eyes filled with emotion. "Thank you," she says, her voice choked with emotion. "For what?" "For giving us another chance. For believing in us." I pull her into a hug. "I love you. I always will." We kiss, and it feels like a promise of a better future, of a stronger bond. As we return home, I feel a sense of peace. We've faced our demons, and we've come out stronger. Our family is whole again, and the future looks bright. In the months that follow, we continue to build our new life. We focus on the little things: family dinners, movie nights, weekend trips. We're creating a new foundation, one that's stronger and more resilient. One evening, Julia comes to me with a smile. "I have some news," she says. "What is it?" "I'm pregnant." I feel a surge of joy. "That's amazing. I'm so happy." We hug, and I feel a sense of completeness. Our family is growing, and the future looks bright. As the months pass, we prepare for the new arrival. We set up the nursery, buy baby clothes, and talk about names. It's a time of anticipation, of excitement. Finally, the day arrives. Julia goes into labor, and we rush to the hospital. It's a long, exhausting process, but when I hold our new baby in my arms, I feel a sense of wonder. "It's a girl," I say, my voice choked with emotion. Julia smiles, tears streaming down her face. "She's perfect." We name her Lily, and she's a symbol of our new beginning, a reminder of how far we've come. As we bring Lily home, Max is beside himself with excitement. He's a proud big brother, and I feel a surge of love for my family. We settle into a new routine, adjusting to life with a newborn. It's challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. We're building a new life, one filled with love and hope. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching Max and Lily play in the yard, Julia leans her head on my shoulder. "We've come a long way," she says, her voice full of emotion. "Yeah, we have." We sit in silence, watching our children play. The past is still there, but it's starting to fade. We're creating new memories, new moments to cherish. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us stronger. We've faced betrayal, anger, and pain, but we've come out the other side with a deeper understanding of love and commitment. As we sit there holding hands, I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together. We've proven that our love can survive anything, and that's all that matters. David's sentencing is behind us, but the final confrontation still looms. It's been months since the trial, and life is beginning to feel normal again. Julia and I have made progress, but there's one last step to truly move forward: facing David one last time. I sit in my office, staring at the letter from David's lawyer. He wants to meet, to apologize in person. It's risky, but I need closure. I pick up the phone and call Julia. "Hey, can you come home early today?" I ask. "Sure. What's up?" "We need to talk." When she arrives, we sit in the living room. I hand her the letter. She reads it, her face a mix of surprise and apprehension. "Do you want to do this?" she asks. I think I need to. For us, for closure. She nods. Okay, let's do it together. The next day, we drive to the agreed location, a neutral office space. My heart pounds in my chest as we walk in. David is already there, looking haggard and defeated. His lawyer sits beside him, but it's clear David is on his own. Thank you for coming, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. I nod, sitting across from him. Julia holds my hand, her presence a steadying force. I want to apologize, David begins. I know I've caused unimaginable pain. I'm truly sorry. I feel a surge of anger, but keep it in check. Sorry doesn't change what you did. I know, he says, tears in his eyes. I've lost everything. My family, my career, my freedom. I just want you to know I regret it all. Julia squeezes my hand, her silent support giving me strength. What do you want from us? I ask. Nothing, he replies. I just needed to say it, to ask for forgiveness, even if I don't deserve it. I look at him, searching for any sign of deceit, but all I see is a broken man. I take a deep breath. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'm willing to try. For my family, for my peace of mind. David nods, tears streaming down his face. Thank you. That's all I can ask for. We leave the office, the weight of the past lifting slightly. It's not complete closure, but it's a step. Julie and I drive home in silence, the encounter replaying in my mind. That night, after putting Max and Lily to bed, we sit on the porch, the cool night air soothing. Julia leans into me, her warmth a comfort. You did the right thing, she says softly. I hope so. I just want us to move on. We will, together. We sit in silence, the stars twinkling above. It's a new beginning, a chance to truly leave the past behind. As the months pass, life continues to settle into a new normal. We focus on our family, our future. The wounds are still there, but they're healing. We're stronger, more united. One evening, we host a small gathering with friends and family. It's a celebration of sorts, a way to mark the end of a difficult chapter. Laughter fills the house, and I feel a sense of peace. Julia stands beside me, her hand on my back. We've come a long way, she says, her voice full of emotion. Yeah, we have. Our friends and family raise their glasses, toasting to new beginnings. I look around, feeling grateful for the support and love that surrounds us. We've faced our demons, and we've come out stronger. Later that night, after everyone has left, Julia and I sit on the porch, a bottle of wine between us. She looks at me, her eyes sparkling with happiness. I have a surprise for you, she says, her voice teasing. What is it? She hands me a small envelope. I open it, finding a sonogram picture inside. We're having another baby, she says, her voice choked with emotion. I feel a surge of joy, tears filling my eyes. That's amazing. I'm so happy. We hug, the promise of a bright future filling our hearts. Our family is growing, and the future looks bright. In the months that follow, we prepare for the new arrival. We set up the nursery, buy baby clothes, and talk about names. It's a time of anticipation, of excitement. Finally, the day arrives. Julia goes into labor, and we rush to the hospital. It's a long, exhausting process. But when I hold our new baby in my arms, I feel a sense of wonder. It's a boy, I say, my voice choked with emotion. Julia smiles, tears streaming down her face. He's perfect. We name him Lucas, and he's a symbol of our new beginning, a reminder of how far we've come. As we bring Lucas home, Max and Lily are beside themselves with excitement. They're proud older siblings, and I feel a surge of love for my family. We settle into a new routine, adjusting to life with a newborn. It's challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. We're building a new life, one filled with love and hope. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching Max, Lily, and Lucas play in the yard, Julia leans her head on my shoulder. We've come a long way, she says, her voice full of emotion. Yeah, we have. We sit in silence, watching our children play. The past is still there, but it's starting to fade. We're creating new memories, new moments to cherish. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us stronger. We've faced betrayal, anger, and pain, but we've come out the other side with a deeper understanding of love and commitment. As we sit there holding hands, I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together. We've proven that our love can survive anything, and that's all that matters. Life moves on, filled with the ups and downs of everyday existence. There are still moments of doubt, of fear, but they're fleeting. We've built a foundation of trust, of resilience. One afternoon, as we're playing in the yard with the kids, Julia turns to me, her eyes bright. "I've been thinking about something." "What's that?" "Maybe we should move. Start fresh somewhere new." The idea takes me by surprise, but it also excites me. A new place, a new beginning. "Where do you want to go?" "Someplace warm, near the ocean." "Sounds perfect." We start planning, researching different places. It feels like an adventure, a way to leave the past behind completely. A few months later, we find our dream home. It's near the beach with a big yard for the kids to play in. The move is chaotic, but it's also filled with excitement and hope. As we settle into our new home, I feel a sense of peace. We've left the past behind, and we're starting a new chapter. Our family is stronger than ever, and the future looks bright. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the sunset over the ocean, Julia leans into me, her warmth a comfort. "We've come a long way," she says, her voice full of emotion. "Yeah, we have." We sit in silence, the sound of the waves crashing in the background. It's a new beginning, a chance to truly move forward. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us stronger. We faced betrayal, anger, and pain, but we've come out the other side with a deeper understanding of love and commitment. As we sit there holding hands, I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together. We've proven that our love can survive anything, and that's all that matters. The salty ocean breeze washes over me as I stand on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Our new home, our new beginning, feels like a dream. Julia comes up behind me, wrapping her arms around my waist. I lean back into her embrace, savoring the peace. "Dinner's almost ready," she says, her voice soft. I turn to kiss her, feeling the warmth of her lips. "I'll get the kids." Inside, Max is helping set the table, his little hands carefully placing each plate. Lily is in her high chair, babbling happily, and Lucas is in his crib, sleeping peacefully. I gather them up, carrying Lucas while Max leads the way to the dining room. "Mommy made spaghetti," Max announces proudly. Julia smiles, dishing out plates of food. We sit together, the sounds of laughter and conversation filling the air. It's moments like these that remind me how far we've come. After dinner, we put the kids to bed and sit on the porch, the stars twinkling above us. Julia leans into me, her head resting on my shoulder. "We've built something beautiful," she says. "Yeah, we have." We sit in silence, the sound of the waves crashing in the background. It's a peaceful night, but my mind drifts back to the past, to the journey that brought us here. The betrayal, the trial, the struggles, they all seem like a distant memory now, but they shaped us, made us stronger. "I've been thinking," I say, breaking the silence, "maybe we should write about what happened, share our story." Julia looks up at me, surprise in her eyes. "You think so?" "Yeah, it might help others going through the same thing." She nods, considering it. "You're right. It could be cathartic, healing." We make a plan, deciding to start a blog. We'll share our experiences, our struggles, and our triumphs. It's a way to turn our pain into something positive, something that can help others. The next day we start writing. It's harder than I thought, reliving the moments of betrayal and heartache. But it's also liberating, putting it all down, owning our story. Julia and I take turns, each of us adding our perspective. As the weeks pass, the blog grows. We receive messages from people all over the world, thanking us for our honesty, for giving them hope. It's overwhelming, but it feels good to know we're making a difference. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching the sunset, Julia looks at me, her eyes filled with pride. "We've come a long way," she says. "Yeah, we have. Our journey is far from over, but we're facing it together. We've built a life filled with love, trust, and hope. The past still lingers, but it no longer defines us." One night, as we're lying in bed, Julia turns to me, her eyes serious. "I want to do something special for you." For us. What do you mean? A vow renewal. A celebration of everything we've overcome. I smile, feeling a surge of love for her. I think that's a great idea. We start planning, deciding to keep it simple. A small ceremony on the beach, just us and the kids. It's a way to reaffirm our commitment, to celebrate our love. The day arrives and the beach is beautiful. The sun is shining, the waves gentle. Max and Lily run around, their laughter filling the air. We stand together, holding hands as we say our vows. I promise to love you, to cherish you, and to always stand by your side, I say, my voice steady. We've faced the worst, and we've come out stronger. I love you, Julia. Julia's eyes glisten with tears. I promise to love you, to trust you, and to always fight for us. You are my rock, my love, my everything. I love you. We kiss, sealing our vows, and the kids cheer. It's a perfect moment, a symbol of how far we've come. As we walk back to our new home, hand in hand, I feel a sense of peace. We've built something beautiful, something strong. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us who we are. Later that night, after the kids are asleep, we sit on the porch, the stars twinkling above. Julia leans into me, her warmth a comfort. We've come a long way, she says. Yeah, we have. We sit in silence, the sound of the waves crashing in the background. It's a new beginning, a chance to truly move forward. Our journey has been hard, but it's made us stronger. We've faced betrayal, anger, and pain, but we've come out the other side with a deeper understanding of love and commitment. As we sit there, holding hands, I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together. We've proven that our love can survive anything, and that's all that matters.